Hey guys, welcome back to Creatures, Caverns, and Crafting. Before we start our crafting video, I wanted to take a second and just take a look at this Fight This Mutant by Jim Wampler. First of all, I got this and I got some free swag along with it. I did back this as part of a Kickstarter. Here's a really cool identification card. You can carry this around with you, and I just showed the pen earlier. Really great quality. Also, a really nice thank you letter from Jim himself. This went out to all patrons of the Kickstarter. He is the head guy over at Mud Puppy Games, so definitely give him a check out. Also got a really nice certificate. This is Mutant Murder Hobos. You can put your name up there at the top. Maybe frame this. Maybe hang it in your office. Might be cool. So let's take a look at this. Guys, each one of these pages is dripping full of information and really cool artwork. I can't say that enough. Here is a bookmark just to go and show you what I'm talking about. If we flip this on the back side, there's an encounter generator for this. So really cool. Give this a check out, guys. Go take a look. Fight This Mutant by Jim Wampler. Especially if you're a Mutant Crawl Classic fan like I am. And let's go ahead and move on to our crafting video. I'm going to start off by taking some popsicle sticks, and what I have here is I've cut off the round edges of this one, and this is going to serve as our template. We're just going to kind of get this as straight as possible, and we're going to take a pen like so and just mark the edges. This is where we're going to cut. The idea here is that we make a batch of these all the same size. When we get done, we can go and just do a bunch of these, and it should look something kind of like this. Now, just to kind of finish these off, what I'm going to do is take a little bit of sandpaper. I'm using kind of a heavier grit, but you can use a fine grit. We're just going to lightly go over the edge and just remove any maybe splinters or anything that might be popped out. Just smooth it over, and now we're going to move on to our next step. I'm going to put the popsicles together using some hot glue, and we're going to allow them to dry for a few minutes, and then just to add a little extra strength, we're going to put a small bead in the corner like so. Now when doing this, of course, hot glue is hot, so be careful. Don't want to burn yourself, and don't worry about the hot glue. That just kind of looks like a weld mark. So to base the steel beams, we have a few options. Typically, I like to use washers. Here's an example from a previous build. However, for this project, I think we're going to use the bottom base of a HeroClix Mini. I've already pulled some apart like so. I really like the edges to these. I'm just going to hold the beam up so you can see a comparison. Now, if you don't have these bases, you could use a regular mini base. I have a 32mm base right here. So we're going to go ahead and use some hot glue to fasten these to the bases, allow them to cool. I'm going to take the third beam we created, and we're going to start putting everything together now. These should fit pretty snug. We want to make sure that they're as flush as possible. And of course, we'll take a little hot glue and secure everything together. I'm going to cut some chipboard into 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch sections. Get about 4 of these. These are going to act as our flanges for our steel beam. I'm going to take some E6000 and put the chipboard in the corners like so. We'll do this on all 4 sides. Then I'm just going to take some of the rhinestones and put those on using some crazy glue. This will look like bolts once we're done. To conceal the wood grain on the steel beams, I'm going to apply a nice light coat of Mod Podge. I'm also going to add some additional wood planks. This will serve as a warning sign and maybe a message board. And next I'm going to go ahead and prime everything. I'm using a dark brown, but you can use a black if you need to. Of course, I'm going to apply the rust effects I've used before. This is a natural sienna and an umber with an ultra varnish matte. And to paint the signs, I'm going to use a nutmeg brown and a Mississippi mud. This is a birdcage pendant I was able to find at Michael's. It was in the discount rack. I want to use this as kind of a medieval cage or stock. If you don't have this, of course, you could make your own, but what I'm going to do is fill it up full of these skeletons. To prepare the skulls, I'm going to use a little bit of green stuff and just fill in the holes. Then I'm going to go ahead and prime everything using a skeleton bone by Army Painter. Next, I'm going to give everything a Cerasepium wash. We're going to allow that to dry, and then we're just going to apply a nice dry brush of Screaming Skull. I'm going to apply the same rust effect to the birdcage that I did earlier. And as you can see, I pried open the door and was able to squeeze in the skulls. Next, I'm going to take some chain links that I got from the craft store as well. And what you can do is just measure off the desired length that you want. You should be able to pry a link apart and just take what you really need. And in this case, what I'm going to do is just wrap this over the beam, and I have a pin here that I've put, and I'll just tie that down. And here we have the finished project. As you can see, I've also added a nice welcome sign and message board there on those wood planks. Let's see what this looks like on the table. Welcome, visitor. Hey guys, I really enjoyed this craft. As always, I greatly appreciate your viewership. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, more importantly, share this with someone that might like these type of builds, and continue to follow me. Please be safe, and we'll see you next week.